Hi, I'm going to learn a little bit about lizards this evening, and we have a very special lizard named Maggie, and I'm going to introduce you.
Hi there, my name is Marlon. I work at Big Al's. I'm also known as Marlon like the fish. And right now I'm holding one of my own personal lizards. This is Maggie. She's a Uromastyx. She's a herbivore. She enjoys eating a variety of greens. Her favorite is bok choy. She also enjoys eating a variety of lentils and budgie seed. So you'll notice sometimes in her cage you hear little snaps. She's chewing on them and she crunches away on them. She also enjoys a variety of fruits. So every morning I wake up and her light goes on about 8:30 in the morning, and I start to prepare her salads. And typically it'll be chopped up bok choy, some of the lentils, some honey pollen, and then whatever fruit I ended up getting at the grocery store. She really likes apples and blueberries and grapes. She loves mangoes. As long as there's a variety, she enjoys munching on them. So now she's a female. And this is roughly a full-size female. They typically are brown with hints of yellow. She's not as warm as she can be, but when she is in her enclosure, you'll notice that the little circles here will go a vibrant yellow, and then in between will be a brownish color. One of their common names is a spiny-tailed lizard. So if we look at her tail, it's covered in little spikes. And the reason behind this is it's a defense mechanism. So in the wild they will dig tunnels, and when they dig these tunnels, they will like wrap the tail around the entrance, so if a fox is trying to get in, he gets met with a wall of spikes. Another common name is a toad lizard. So if we cover her body and you look at the face, it almost resembles a toad. Yeah, so
that's awesome.
So she was my first pet when I started at the store. A customer came in and wasn't able to continue to take care of it, so I offered her some money and I went home with an animal I never knew. Within 3 hours I did a lot of studying and discovered how to take care of her. One of the interesting things I discovered was these lizards are very commonly caught in the wild in the pet industry. So the first thing I did once I discovered this is I booked an appointment with one of the reptile vets in Ottawa, and I got Maggie dewormed. And it's a very common thing with the wild caught Uromastyx. They're usually littered with internal parasites, so they'll be eating but they won't be gaining weight. And what happens in the hobby is someone will buy it and they might get a few months out of it, and it's eating it but losing weight. So I took it to the vet. I also took a stool sample to the vet, and he looked at the stool under a microscope to see if there was anything worse. And thankfully there was nothing wrong. She got dewormed, and so she's about 10-11, and this is about half her lifespan.
Wow, whoa, look at that face.
Yeah, especially how her arm is hanging over there. So you can see a little bit of shed on her right arm. They kind of shed in pieces, like in patches, just because the desert is very hot, and typically most lizards, when they start to molt or shed, like bearded dragons or leopard geckos, their enclosures are a little bit more humid, so excess skin typically comes off in one shot or large amounts. With Uromastyx, they come off in pieces. Sometimes I give her a bath just to kind of help her shed. So the male Uromastyx, they tend to get a little bit bigger. Maggie from tail to nose is about 10 to 11 inches. The males are going to be a vibrant yellow with much larger jowls, and they're yellow from head to toe, and they tend to bob their heads up and down if they're angry, kind of like a bearded dragon. Typically when they mate, the females will lay about somewhere between 10 to 15 eggs, and they tend to migrate somewhere where there's a little bit more soil. It's easier for them to dig, and it's a little bit more humid, so it prevents the eggs from drying up if it's directly under the sand or a clay-like substance.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's always been with me. I actually recently bought a new terrarium. It's a rather large one. The other thing which I mentioned before is she's a herbivore, so I don't have to worry about getting crickets or bugs. She's not a heavy insectivore. She likes her greens, but you can treat them and spoil them with butterworms or waxworms, which are easier to manage than crickets. There have been times where I brought home crickets from the store and I'll throw them in, and she engages them, she chases them and runs and eats them. So it gives her a little bit of exercise. So she really appreciates that.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know what else to tell you about. I think I kind of like splurted it all out there.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.